WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Cash Matlock. The Mississippi Department of Health reports 288 new cases of COVID-19 with 12 new deaths. The total number of cases is now more than 9,300 with 421 deaths since March 11th. Analysts say the numbers continue to climb in part because testing is becoming more common. More than 90,000 tests have been performed by state and private providers. Regionally, Monroe County still sets the pace by hitting the 200 confirmed case mark. The health department releases the number of recoveries weekly. With that new set due on Monday, the May 3rd recovered figure was more than 4,400 in Mississippi. Well, globally, the number of coronavirus cases has passed the 4 million mark. About 1/3 of the more than 77,000 reported U.S. coronavirus deaths have happened in New York State. Now, the governor is addressing a new ailment in children that may be related to the coronavirus. CBS News correspondent Danya Bacchus has the latest.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo spoke about a mysterious illness that has now taken the lives of 3 children in the state.
Toddler elementary school children are presenting symptoms similar to Kawasaki disease or toxic shock-like syndrome.
Cuomo says the ailment affects children's blood vessels and potentially the heart. It does not appear to attack the respiratory system. But the state health department is studying 73 cases in which children with the syndrome have COVID-19 antibodies or test positive for the coronavirus.
This is the last thing that we need at this time with all that's going on.
New York, the nation's hardest hit state, has not started easing stay-at-home restrictions. The rules are set to expire Friday, with plans to gradually reopen businesses in some areas. Open Up Kansas protesters rallied near the State House in Topeka Saturday.
Every job is essential.
Governor Laura Kelly's phased reopening plan took effect on Monday. In parts of western Pennsylvania, retail businesses opened their doors on Friday, giving shoppers a chance to support local businesses.
They know you by name, they know your style, they know, so, I mean, it's important. Just having that interaction.
In Tennessee, residents took advantage of this weekend's partial reopening of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And in Ocean City, Maryland, the chilly temperatures didn't deter dozens of people from lining up for boardwalk treats at the reopened beaches. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Governor Cuomo says the CDC has asked New York to develop a national criteria for the mysterious illness affecting children. Well, following a special called meeting this afternoon, Columbus Mayor Robert Smith announces a revision to the city's previous decision to keep barbershops, nail salons, and gyms closed, despite the governor's executive order allowing them to reopen. As of Monday, May 11th, all Columbus barbers, beauty shops, nail salons, gyms, fitness centers, tattoo parlors, tanning salons, and spas can reopen. The governor's executive order 1480 authorizes these businesses to reopen, but they are not required to reopen. Smith and the Restart Columbus committees met and went over the details of the order. And for a full look at that order, you can visit our website, WCBI.com. Starkville city leaders are following the governor's lead in restarting the state's economy. At a special called meeting today, aldermen voted to allow some businesses, including hair and nail salons, barbershops, and gyms, to reopen. Shop owners will have to take some extra steps, including deep cleaning and sanitization, before they can welcome clients back.
We felt like it was appropriate for us to adopt what the governor was doing, because if we were to try to call out businesses different than the governor, then it looks as though we're picking and choosing who it is we're going to require to have extra requirements on them in ways that might be considered impeding their business. And so that was part of the concern.
Well, the next regular meeting of the mayor and the Board of Aldermen will be May 19th. Tupelo city leaders waste no time setting up guidelines for those businesses preparing to reopen. The new rules call for employers to develop policies on social distancing, temperature checks for employees, and proper sanitization. And they stop short of requiring face masks, as some cities have done, but do strongly encourage people to wear face coverings. Mayor Jason Shelton says there's a lot to consider when considering restrictions for the general public.
There's several things that come into play when you actually make that a rule and try to enforce it. And, could we enforce it in the city of Tupelo? And then how would we ensure that everyone has access to a face mask? And then, there's different concerns with allergies and other things for people wearing them. So it's best to talk to your doctor, to follow the CDC guidelines.
Mayor Shelton says his administration will no longer refer to businesses as essential or non-essential.
Well, how about this? A little bit of a chill out there in the air today. Normally this time of year, our highs are right at the 80-degree mark. Today in Columbus, we hit 67 degrees. We were 66 in Tupelo. Starkville only got up to 63. So anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees below where we normally are for this time of year. And it's going to be cold tonight as well. A lot of us falling down into the upper 30s. And with the clear skies and calm winds, that could result in a little bit of patchy frost, especially over in West Alabama and extreme northeastern Mississippi like Tishomingo and Itawamba counties. I think most of us stay above the threshold to see any frost out there, but still a cold night and still fairly chilly for your Mother's Day. Lots of sunshine though. Highs getting up into the mid-70s out there, and rain chances remaining fairly minimal, but there are some in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up in just a little bit. Cash.
All right, thank you, Trevor. Well, in addition to opening up salons and gyms across the state, the governor is also extending the Safer at Home order by 2 weeks. Now, state leaders are emphasizing the need for personal responsibility. Courtney Ann Jackson has the latest.
A shift in strategy. That's how Governor Tate Reeves is describing the latest announcement, reiterating a point he's made on several occasions that he doesn't think shutdowns are sustainable.
We're reaching the point where the damage to these families is as disastrous as any virus. We're headed towards a point where the cure could become even worse than the disease.
He's extending the Safer at Home order for 2 weeks, but allowing salons, barbershops, and gyms to reopen beginning Monday morning at 8 with specific guidelines and restrictions.
Now let's all be honest. We are not doing this because there is no risk associated with you going there. There is risk every single time you leave your home.
Reeves also making a plea for Mississippians not to take these steps as a sign to throw the doors open and cast all cares aside.
Please, I beg you, do not listen to the voices in your life that tell you that there is no danger.
Still, there is some recognition that the virus is spreading more in some parts of the state.
We cannot take a sledgehammer to this surgical process. We need to be surgical in our responses. And Dr. Dobbs has been talking over the last several days about the 10 to 12 counties where they have the most cases, and then of course the 5 or 6 counties that have really large number of cases on a per capita basis. We've got to recognize that. And
Reeves saying to stay tuned when asked about whether those counties may have specific restrictions.
As far as other industries not covered by Friday's announcement, if they're currently closed, they'll stay closed for at least another 2 weeks because of the extension of the Safer at Home order. Today, the Columbus Air Force Base held a flyover for healthcare workers and others who are on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. The flight pattern started at the Air Force Base at 1:45 and made passes through Tupelo, Amory, Aberdeen, West Point, Starkville, and finished in Columbus, where aircrafts flew over Baptist Memorial Hospital. Well, today in Columbus also, the local farmers market was reopened for the first time in a long time. That market was back up and running. The market was held from 7 to 10 this morning. Vendors sold fresh produce and homemade treats, but it wasn't exactly business as usual this morning. Both vendors and shoppers had to abide by social distancing guidelines.
You know, we really want to support our local farmers and our local economy, but of course the safety precautions are a big thing. So we want everybody to be safe and to shop safely. You know, so masks and gloves are required, but there's plenty of produce to choose from. We've got all the vendors facing out into the parking lot so that people can maintain the proper 6 feet apart. And we've had a really good response this morning.
Well, that market is open a couple different times throughout the week, and for a full list of those times, you can visit our website, WCBI.com. COVID-19 is having an impact in almost every area of our society. Even our four-legged friends are being affected. This is normally one of the busiest times of the year for animal shelters, but with new restrictions in place, they're having to change the way they operate. Our Savannah Gato joins us in the studio with more on how one area shelter is coping.
Animal surrenders have decreased at the Oktibbeha County Humane Society, but unfortunately, so have adoption rates. So they're taking steps to get those numbers up.
So OCHS has implemented several precautions in order to protect the health and safety of our staff and the animals that are in our care. We have about 145 animals in our care, about 80 at the shelter itself and about 60 in foster homes.
Coronavirus has forced the Oktibbeha County Humane Society to change the way it operates.
Starting back in March, we held an adoption special and pushed fosters, trying to get as many animals out of the shelter as possible. March 15th is when we locked our doors. However, we're still open to visitors, just by appointment only.
The appointment-only policy is just one of the changes. Everyone that enters the animal shelter is required to wear a mask, including the staff.
Their safety is paramount, and in order for our animals to be well cared for and provided for, our staff need to be healthy and safe.
According to Thomas, the animal shelter has had a 22% decrease in animal intake. That's the good news. The bad news is there has also been a 38% decrease in adoptions.
We are concerned that with that 22% decrease in the number of intakes for that period, we're concerned about those animals, and are they out in the community? Are they going to come in a flood once our doors are unlocked and we're open regular hours? We're not sure, but we're doing the best we can to care for the animals in our care and continue to serve the community.
The Humane Society has a special adoption event to help free up space in case that happens.
Starting today, Saturday, May 9th through May 17th, thanks to Bissell Pet Foundation, we're running the Empty the Shelters event where all adoptable pets are $25.
Every adoptable pet is spayed, neutered, and microchipped and up to date on vaccinations. If you are interested in adopting or fostering, you can visit the Oktibbeha County Humane Society's website to see which animals are available.
Graduation for the class of 2020 was anything but traditional. More on area celebrations when we come back.
Watching WCBI News at 6 p.m. with Cash Matlock.
Welcome back, everyone. Today in Aberdeen, citizens came together to celebrate the class of 2020. Family and friends all met at City Hall with one thing in mind: honoring the class of 2020. Seniors received balloons, proclamations, and even a few scholarships.
Back in October, we decided to come together and make a decision on how we was going to give back to our community, and this was one of the things that we came up with, to give our scholarships to the seniors.
We will hear more from seniors and parents Sunday night at 9 and 10. Well, for more than 5,000 Ole Miss graduates, this is the day they've been working toward for years. But as our own graduate DeAndrea Turner finds, this year's graduation is far from the traditional pomp and circumstance.
It's graduation day at Ole Miss, but Madison Scarpino isn't headed to the Grove. She's headed to her living room. Her college days are turning into memories with a virtual graduation ceremony.
In the Grove.
Scarpino and her roommates dressed up and booted up the computer to join the live stream. For her, the graduation experience was untraditional and a little surreal.
This isn't happening right now. It was just crazy to me that was our graduation ceremony.
But with music, friends, and cheers to a new beginning, she made the best out of it.
Like I said, I think that they did a nice job of using the tools that they could to put something good together for us. I love how they had some celebrities in there.
And she looks forward to what's next.
I am definitely excited for that next chapter of my life.
Ole Miss says that the virtual ceremony is not a replacement of the in-person ceremony.
Pretty nice evening up there in Tupelo right now, and the sunshine's going to stick around for the next few days. Talk about your full first alert forecast coming up right after this.
Trevor Chat.
Some really nice weather out there today for your Saturday, kicking off Mother's Day weekend on an amazing note, but it was chilly out there. Highs only got up into the 60s for a lot of us. Some folks got just up to that 70-degree mark, but barely. A lot of us really stayed in those mid to upper 60s. Out there right now, you can see the reason for those cooler temperatures. High pressure just to the north of us, keeping firm control of our weather. You see just a few high clouds out there. Most of us stay generally sunny through the day, but this high pressure has got a ridge over the southeastern half of the United States, and that's keeping us dry and quiet here. But we've got a cold front off to the north and the west. That's going to be swinging through here in the next couple of days. that could increase our chances for an isolated sprinkle or two as we get into the later portion of the week. Right now out there, no weather to talk about. We are going to stay mostly dry and sunny through the evening, and we're going to stay clear overnight tonight as well. It is chilly, though. Temperatures still in the 60s for a lot of us. 63 in Starkville, 65 in Winona and in West Point, 66 at the Air Force Base and in Tupelo. But notice, nothing but sunny skies. Most of the cloud cover has made its way out of the WCBI viewing area. Overnight tonight, most clouds do continue to filter out. I think we're mostly clear. Whatever clouds were there are going to continue to filter out as we get past midnight. I think we're mostly clear, and the calm winds could help us to really cool down as we get into the early morning hours of your Sunday. As a matter of fact, our forecast low 39. And if we hit that forecast on the nail on the head and we verify that, that would actually break the record low for Columbus and Starkville. Columbus set the record low 40 all the way back in 1906. We're talking about a record of over 100 years ago that could be broken. So if the mercury goes all the way down to 39 overnight tonight, we will shatter that record low here in the Golden Triangle. Tomorrow, though, of course, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. 74, just a little bit warmer for tomorrow. I think we stay mostly sunny. Really a picture-perfect day. If you're planning a lunch with mom, maybe turn it into a picnic and take it outside. It'll be some great weather for it. We'll hit 74 in Columbus and in Tupelo, 73 for our friends up there in Houston, 73 in Louisville, and over in West Alabama, 73 in Vernon as well, and 73 also in Pickens County in Aliceville. Over the next few days, temperatures do start to get back a little closer to normal. As I mentioned, our average for this time of year is 80, and we're going to meet that by the middle portion of the week and actually get above average as we get closer to next weekend. I mentioned that cold front back off to the north and the west. Here's what happens with that. Monday still off in Oklahoma, but it does approach us as we get into Monday night and Tuesday. Notice it sets up shop just to the north of our area, and that's going to really keep most of the heavier rain off to the north. Not completely out of the question, though, for an isolated sprinkle or two to move through the area on Wednesday. So we're going to keep some isolated rain chances in play. We're getting into more of that summertime pattern where there's a chance for an isolated shower or a rumble of thunder through the day. But generally, the next 7 days are looking dry. Our next best chance of rain comes in on Friday. Still only about a 30% chance, so not a washout there. Highs getting back into the mid-80s, though, by the end of the weekend and into next weekend.
COVID-19 is taking a toll on traditional events all across the area. When we come back, more on how one community is adapting to the changing times. Don't go anywhere. Welcome again, everyone. Due to the nature of our times, a traditional event in Tupelo was canceled this year. WCBI's Chad Groening has more on how the city came up with an alternative.
Tupelo Parks and Recreation Director Alex Farnett and his crew were busy making Duty Burgers, the local favorite served at iconic Duty's Diner for decades. This weekend would have seen a large crowd celebrating the annual Duty Burger Festival. But thanks to the coronavirus, this year's event became a Duty Burgers drive-by, where folks could come and pick up a bagged meal, including 2 Duty Burgers.
We have just been so blessed that we're going to be able to have this Duty Burger Festival today. Even though we're kind of minus the festival, we really wanted to contribute and give back during this pandemic by doing some burgers and doing it safely and doing it through a drive-through and trying to still keep the history of the Duty Burger Diner alive.
It's a piece of Tupelo history, and we want everybody to remember Christian Truman, Duty, and the good times that were had when he brought the streetcar down in the 30s, made his famous dough burger, the Duty's Burger.
As you can see, vehicles are backed up as folks are coming here to the parking lot of the Orrin Dunn Museum to take part in this rather unique Duty Burger drive-by event, which is the largest fundraiser of the year for the Orrin Dunn Museum. And the event was quite well received.
Oh my stars, we've waited all year long for this because we used to go to Duty's when it was downtown by crosstown. Y'all are angels. Y'all are hamburger angels.
It's all right. Just wish everything was opened up. Glad to be out by the house a little bit.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. It brings back family memories of my parents sitting in the parking lot eating hamburgers back in the 60s. It's just a wonderful event that we can still experience it, and our son is home and he can experience it, and it's just like a hamburger like no other.
I don't think Duty's was around in my lifetime, but I've heard Mom talk about it for years and how they'd come to town, and if they weren't eating at Johnny's, then they'd be going up to Duty's.
We would much rather have got to go in and see the museum and
and you know, the old Duty's Hamburger Hut and everything. We'd rather have done it differently for sure.
It's different, and we're just being safe though to protect ourselves since we are older, and I wish it was the other way, that we could be out in public, but we have to do what we have to do to be safe.
Chad Groening, WCBI News, Tupelo.
They hope to raise $6,000 at this weekend's event. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Trevor will have a final look at weather. Stay with us. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.